Hello there, my friend. Once again, this is your professor, Dr. Herbert B. Rosana, and we will be on board again for our next lecture on our series on human rights. And today we will be talking about the generation of rights. So sit back, relax, and try to absorb the learnings that we're going to have today. And later on in the Q&A portion, you can ask your questions. You can also share your ideas. So today we will be talking about the so-called generation of rights. So what are the generation of rights? So pag sinabi natin na generation, it has something to do with the production. So how do we generate? How do we how do we reproduce? So kumbaga sa prosesong ito, nais na ipaunawa sa atin na ang tinatawag natin na generation of rights ay kung paano nag-evolve ang ating consciousness o ang ating pagkaunawa sa human rights nito. Sapagkat mga kaibigan, mayroon tayong mga karapatan na tinatawag na inalienable. Meaning to say, ito ay mga karapatan na ibinigay sa atin at ito ang nagde-define ng ating pagkatao. So hindi pwede itong ihiwalay sa ating pagkatao. Kaya ang nag-evolve dito, hindi ang human rights, kundi ang nag-evolve dito ay ang ating pagkaunawa or ang ating kamalayan or consciousness about human rights. So to say it formally, the categorization of human rights into different generations based on their focus and evolution is often referred to as the generation of rights. So this framework helps us to understand the historical development and expansion of human rights discourse and practice over time, reflecting changes in social values, needs, and challenges. So each generation of rights builds upon the previous ones and contribute to a broader understanding of human rights, of human dignity, and our well-being. So there are three generations of rights officially, because later on we will be talking about the fourth generation of rights. The first one is we call the first generation is the civil and political rights. Then the second is economic, social, and cultural rights. The third generation is solidarity rights or collective rights. So we will discuss this one by one in the next part of our discussion. So, all right, my friends, let us talk about the first generation of human rights. This generation of rights focuses on individual freedoms and protections from government interference. These rights are all about safeguarding your personal liberties. Think of it as your shield against any unjust actions by those in power. Some of the key rights in this generation include freedom of speech. That means you have the right to express your thoughts and opinions without fear of punishment. Then there's the freedom of religion. You have the right to practice any religion you choose or none at all. Another important one is the right to assembly, which means that you can gather peacefully with others to express your views or beliefs. And let's not forget that the right to a fair trial, this ensures that everyone gets a fair and impartial hearing if they are accused of a crime. These rights have a long history and have been enshrined in various documents throughout time. For example, the Magna Carta, which was signed way back in 1215, then established also some of these fundamental rights in England. Then you also have the Bill of Rights drafted in the United States in 1791. Also laid down many of these principles. But perhaps one of the most significant documents for these rights is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, or the UDHR, adopted by the United Nations in 1948. So it's like a global rule book for protecting human rights, and it includes many of these first generation rights. So in a nutshell, the first generation of human rights is all about protecting your individual freedom and ensuring that the government respects your rights as a person. Now, let's divide it into the second generation of human rights. Unlike in the first generation, which focuses on individual freedoms, this generation is all about the broader social, economic, and cultural aspects of human well being. It's like looking at the bigger picture of how society can support everyone to live a good life. So, what are some of these rights? Well, imagine a world where everyone has access to education, regardless of their background or circumstances. That's one of the rights included in this generation, the right to education. So it's about ensuring that knowledge and learning opportunities are available to all because education is key to unlocking potential and opportunities. Then there's the right to work. This means that everyone should have the opportunity to find a job that allows them to earn a living and support themselves and their families. It's about dignity and self sufficiency. Then, healthcare is another crucial right in this generation. It's about ensuring that everyone has access to medical care when they need it, and regardless of their financial situation, then also good health is essential for living a full and meaningful life. So it's important that healthcare is available to all. And finally, there is the right to a standard of living adequate for health and well being. This encompasses things like access to food, housing, and clean water, the basic necessities of life. It's about ensuring that everyone can live with dignity and security. And these rights are aimed at creating a minimum standard of living and providing opportunities for all individuals to thrive. They are often associated with socialist and social democratic movements which prioritize the well being of society as a whole. Now, these ideas were further articulated in documents like the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, adopted by the United Nations in 1966. Now, this covenant is like a global commitment to promoting these second generation rights and working towards a more just and equitable world. Now, let's explore the third generation of human rights. Unlike the previous generations, which focus on individual freedoms and social and economic well being, these rights shift our focus to the collective well being of society. Our communities and the environment we live in, it's like zooming out from individual rights to see the bigger picture of how we all fit together in the world. So, what are some of these rights? Well, imagine a world where everyone has the right to live in peace, where conflicts are resolved peacefully, and cooperation prevails over violence. That's the right to peace. It's about creating a world where everyone can live without fear of war or conflict. Then, there's the right to a clean environment. This is about recognizing that we all have a right to live in a healthy and sustainable environment where air and water are clean and ecosystems are protected. It's about preserving our planet for future generations. Next, we have the right to self determination. This is the right of people to freely determine their political status, pursue their economic, social, and cultural development, and manage their own affairs without external interference. It's about respecting the rights and autonomy of communities to shape their own destinies. And finally, there's the right to development. This is about ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to fulfill their potential and leading a fulfilling life. It's about addressing the structural inequalities that limit opportunities for many people around the world. And these third generation rights emphasize the interconnectedness of communities and the need for international cooperation to address global challenges. They often arise in response to pressing issues such as environmental degradation, globalization, and the preservation of cultural diversity. In a world where challenges like climate change, inequality, and conflict are increasingly interconnected, this rights reminds us of our shared responsibility to work together towards a more just, peaceful, and sustainable future for all. Let's delve into the concept of a fourth generation of rights. Unlike the widely recognized first three generations, the idea of a fourth generation rights is not as established in the mainstream human rights discourse. However, it's gaining some traction and among scholars and activists who see the need to address emerging challenges in our rapidly evolving world. So, why are fourth generation rights being proposed? Well, think about the profound impact that technological advancement, globalization, and the digital age have had on our lives. From the internet to generic engineering, our world is changing at an unprecedented pace, and our understanding of human rights needs to evolve along with it. Fourth generation rights aim to tackle these modern challenges head on. They are about ensuring that our rights are protected in a world where technology permeates every aspect of our lives. These include issues like privacy rights in the age of big data, access to information in the digital realm, and internet freedoms in an era of online censorship. Globalization has also brought both opportunity and challenges. Fourth generation rights may address issues like global economic inequality, the rights of migrant workers, and the impact of multinational corporations on human rights and the environment. And let's not forget the digital age. With rapid advancement in biotechnology and artificial intelligence, fourth generation rights might encompass concerns such as genetic privacy, the ethical use of technology, and the rights of individuals in the face of algorithmic decision making. While the concept of fourth generation rights is still evolving and not universally recognized, it reflects a growing awareness of the need to adapt our understanding of human rights to the realities of modern world as we continue to grapple with the complexities of technology, globalization, and the digital age. Fourth generation rights reminds us of the importance of protecting human dignity and well-being in every challenging landscape. So today we are discussing the concept of fourth generation rights, an evolving framework addressing contemporary challenges in our world. Firstly, we have the digital rights. This encompasses privacy, data protection, access to information, and internet freedoms. In a world increasingly reliant on digital technologies, these rights are crucial in navigating the complexity of the digital age. Then next, we explore environmental rights. This extended beyond ensuring a clean environment to encompass broader environmental protections. This includes recognizing the rights of nature and promoting sustainable development practices to safeguard our planet for future generation. Then, moving on, we encounter genetic rights. Here we address ethical and legal considerations arising from genetic engineering, biotechnology, and genomic data. Now, issues such as genetic privacy, discrimination, and access to genetic healthcare fall under this domain. And lastly, we delve into cultural and indigenous rights. These rights acknowledge the importance of preserving indigenous cultures, languages, and traditional knowledge in the face of globalization and cultural homogenization. And in summary, fourth generation rights reflect our evolving understanding of human rights in response to the challenges posed by technological advancement, globalization, and the need for environmental sustainability. Embracing these rights is essential in ensuring dignity, equity, and justice in our rapidly changing world. So, we will delve into some of the fascinating case studies that shed light on the fourth generation of rights. These real world examples illustrate the complexities and challenges faced in promoting and protecting digital, environmental, genetic, and cultural rights. Let us start with the digital rights. In the European Union, as a case study, the General Data Protecting Regulations, or GDPR, stand as a beacon of digital rights protection. It was enacted in 2018, and it grants individuals greater control over their personal data and imposes strict obligations on organizations handling such data. This regulation is a prime example of protective measures taken to safeguard digital rights, particularly privacy and data protection. And today we are exploring another two compelling case studies that highlight the intersection of environmental rights, indigenous rights, and the ongoing struggle for justice and sustainability. First, let us take our journey to Ecuador. Ecuador's constitution stands as a pioneering example of recognizing the inherent rights of nature. Enshrined with its legal framework are the rights of the ecosystem to exist, to flourish, and to evolve. This groundbreaking approach demonstrates Ecuador's commitment to embedding environmental rights within its laws and emphasizing the intrinsic value of nature and the imperative to adopt sustainable development practices. It serves as a beacon of hope for those advocating for harmonious relationship between humanity and the environment. And now let's shift our focus to the United States. Another example is the Standing Rock Sioux tribes battle against the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. This symbolizes the resilience of indigenous communities in protecting their environmental and cultural heritage, and their opposition to the pipeline highlights the profound intersectionality between environmental degradation and indigenous rights. This case study underscores the importance of indigenous peoples' participation in environmental decision-making process and the imperative to respect their sovereignty and ancestral lands. In summary, this case study illustrates the ongoing struggle to uphold environmental justice, indigenous rights, and sustainable development, and they remind us of the urgent need to forge inclusive and equitable solutions that prioritize the well-being of both people and the planet. And we will also delve into a provoking case study that shed light on the ethical and legal complexities surrounding genetic rights and biotechnological advancement. Let's start with the Myrad Genetics patenting, or BRCA genes. Myrad Genetics patents on the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes linked to hereditary breast and ovarian cancer ignited a widespread debate. These patents raised significant concerns regarding access to the genetic testing and healthcare, and this case study underscored the ethical and legal dilemma surrounding genetic patents and their implications for genetic privacy and healthcare accessibility. So it prompts us to reflect on the balance between intellectual property rights and public health interests, and highlighting the need for equitable and ethical practices in the realm of genetics. So another is, let us explore the CRISPR Case9 gene editing technology. So the development and application of this program editing technology represent a groundbreaking leap in genetic engineering. However, this innovation also raises profound ethical questions about the potential misuse and unintended consequence of genetic manipulation. So this case study underscores the importance of ethical considerations and regulatory frameworks in governing emerging biotechnologies. And it calls for the robust safeguards to protect genetic rights, ensure responsible scientific research, and mitigate potential risk to individual and society at large. So in summary, this case studies invites us to grapple with the ethical, legal, and societal implications of genetic advancement. They remind us of the imperative to navigate the complexities of biotechnology with careful considerations and foresight, safeguarding genetic rights and promoting responsible innovations for the benefit of humanity. And we will also first let us take our journey into the realm of UNESCO's intangible cultural heritage lists. So UNESCO's intangible cultural heritage list serves as a testament to the rich tapestry of human creativity and diversity. This prestigious list recognizes cultural practices, traditions, and expressions that contribute to our collective heritage. Through case studies of intangible cultural heritage, nominations, we can gain insight into the tireless efforts to safeguard indigenous cultures and traditional knowledge from the threat of cultural homogenization and extinction. This nomination exemplify the resilience of communities worldwide in preserving their cultural identity and heritage for future generations. Now, let's turn our attention to the Maasai Intellectual Property Initiative. The Maasai Intellectual Property Initiative stands as a powerful testament to indigenous peoples' determination to protect their cultural and intellectual rights. This initiative, rooted in Kenya and Tanzania, seeks to safeguard the intellectual property rights of the Maasai people, including their traditional knowledge, cultural expressions, and genetic resources. Through legal and advocacy efforts, the Maasai people are asserting their rights and combating the misappropriation and exploitation of their cultural heritage. And this case study serves as an inspiring example of indigenous communities reclaiming ownership of their heritage and defending it against external threats. So, in summary, these case studies underscore the importance of respecting and preserving cultural diversity, heritage, and indigenous rights. They remind us of our collective responsibility to honor, protect the cultural expressions and knowledge of all people, ensuring their continued vitality and relevance in our ever-changing world. Now, um, we come now to the questions. Why are the fourth generation of rights controversial? Kasi sabi natin kanina ay mayroong tatlong level ng generation of rights. At ngayon, itong tinatawag natin na fourth generation of rights ay isinasuggest ito ng ibang mga scholars at mga practitioners. Kaya lang hindi pa siya gaanong tinatanggap. Okay. So, let's break this down into simpler terms. So, the first reason why the fourth generation of rights is controversial because number one, because of complexity and ambiguity. So, fourth generation rights cover a wide range of new issues like digital rights, environmental rights, genetic rights, and cultural and indigenous rights. And these areas are pretty complicated and not always clear cut. So this makes it tough to pin down exactly what they mean and how to put them into action, especially when it comes to making laws and discussing them on a global scale. The second reason is the lack of consensus. Unlike the first sorry, the three batches of rights which most people agree on and are written into international agreements, there's not much agreement yet, sorry, about what exactly falls under the fourth generation rights. This disagreement makes it hard for them to become official and to be put into action worldwide. Then the third is resistance from the big players. Pushing or fourth generation rights often goes up against powerful groups who don't want things to change. This can be governments, big companies, or other influential folks. And they might fight against this right because they challenge the way things are currently run, especially in areas like the internet, the environment, and the rights of indigenous people. Then number four, uh, limited resources. To tackle the fourth generation rights properly, we need a lot of resources, money, technology, and organizations that can help. But many countries, especially in the poorer parts of the world, don't have enough of these resources to focus on these rights. And they have other pressing issues to deal with first. Then, number five, the changing face of human rights. Human rights are always evolving as the world changes, while the fourth generation rights might not be widely accepted yet. People are working hard to change that, and the advocates and the researchers are spreading the word, getting people to agree, and pushing for these rights to be recognized and protected, just like the ones that came before. So, what do we learn or what can we learn from our study of the generation of rights? Studying the generation of rights offers valuable insights into the evolution of human rights discourse and the changing dynamics of social progress. And here are some of the key lessons we can learn. So, first, exploring the various generations of rights provide us with a window into the past, helping us grasp the historical backdrop in which they arose. Then each generation is a product of its time, intricately woven into the fabric of the social, political, and economic landscape and its era. And as we delve into the different generations, we uncover the unique challenges and triumphs faced by societies throughout history. The first generation of rights, focusing on civil and political liberties, emerged amidst the movements of democracy and individual freedom. These rights mirror the struggle of marginalized communities seeking equality and justice in the face of oppression and tyranny. And moving forward, the second generation of rights expanded the scope of it to encompass socio-economic rights, reflecting the growing awareness of economic inequalities and social injustices against the backdrop of industrialization and economic upheavals. These rights articulated the aspirations of workers and marginalized groups for decent living, standards, and social protection. And the third generation of rights, emerging in the mid 20th century, responded to the complexities of a globalizing world and the challenges of development. Environmental degradation, cultural preservation, and indigenous rights became focal points, reflecting the interconnectedness of human well being and the need for collective action on a global scale. And by examining these different generations of rights, we gain profound insights into the struggles and aspirations of marginalized communities across history. We come to understand the dynamic interplay between rights and the socio-political context in which they unfold. And this understanding empowers us to advocate for justice and equality in our own time, drawing lessons from the past to shape a more equitable future. Then, the idea of generational rights shows us how human rights have evolved over the years, and we moved from the civil and political rights to the first generation to the socio-economic and cultural rights of the second and third generations. And this progression widens the range of rights that we recognize, covering more aspects of human well being. Then, the generation of rights highlight how different rights are all connected. Even though each generation focuses on different rights, they actually support and strengthen each other. For instance, having political freedom is crucial for making socio-economic rights like access to education and healthcare and are upheld. And when it comes to environmental rights, they are closely tied to our right to good health and well-being. So it's all about seeing how these rights work together to create better world for everyone. So the rise of the new generation of rights shows how society is trying to keep up with the changing times and tackle new problems, recognizing the rights like digital rights, environmental rights, and genetic rights is a sign that we are learning and evolving. And it is all about understanding human dignity, fairness, and justice in today's world. We're dealing with things like new technologies, environmental damage, and genetic discovery. So these rights are our way of adapting and making the sure that everyone treated fairly and respectfully in this modern age. Exploring the different generations of rights helps us see how rights issues are all connected. And it shows us that people and communities often deal with more than one kind of discrimination or disadvantage. And we call this intersectionality. To tackle these complex challenges, we need to use intersection approaches in our human rights work. This means looking at how different forms of discrimination overlap and affect people's lives. By doing this, we can better address the diverse and interconnected ways that depression and inequality show up in our society. So, in conclusion, examining the different generations of rights serves as a reminder that the journey of human rights advocacy is ongoing. While we've made important progress in recognizing and protecting human rights, we still um, we still face the challenges, and there's always more work to be done. And it's essential to keep advocating, speaking out, and learning to ensure that everyone's rights are respected and protected. By continuing our activism, advocacy, and scholarship, we can work towards a future where rights are realized for all individuals and communities. So, thank you very much for listening to our lecture. Thank you for your participation. Mag-ingat po tayo dahil sa medyo mainit ang panahon ngayon. Kaya nga ako, even here inside the comfort of my home, nararamdaman ko ang init ng panahon at minsan ay nagdudulot ito ng hindi mabuting pakiramdam sa atin. At lalong-lalo na sa mga kaibigan natin na mayroong mga medical issues at mayroong mga edad na ay medyo nahihirapan sa ganitong sitwasyon. But let us help each other, and let us always wish that the blessing of the Almighty and our love for everybody will always prevail. So thank you so much.